Hello and welcome to Non-Dual Therapy. This is going to be a trip report from some cannabis that I smoked, integrating a 5-MeO malt experience. So if you want to check out the trip report from the 5-MeO malt experience, I'll put it in the link description below. Otherwise, let's just get into it. Now just a very quick recap of my 5-MeO malt experience. Basically in and out of non-duality many times, just in and out all the time for like an hour and a half straight. So then the next day I used some cannabis to help integrate what all that was, because it was basically just dissolving into nothing and then becoming everything, and then that was it. But there's nothing in between. There's no understanding. It's just all infinity. And it's all nothing simultaneously. So now when I lay down after smoking some weed, I'm used to the intensity of 5-MeO malt because that's what I've been working with over the past couple weeks. So it was pretty calm and it was pretty mellow in comparison. Sometimes my weed sessions are pretty powerful, so I didn't know where this was going to go, but right from the beginning it felt really calm and really just really mellow. You know, as the medicine was unfolding, I found myself struggling with my ego as my ego was trying to make sense, but it was going down all these avenues that I felt like I've been down before and they just weren't correct. And I'm trying to just like stop and just be centered. If I find myself down one of these avenues, I'll just like kind of evaporate everything, all my thoughts, everything just evaporates. And I'll just go back to a neutral symmetrical position and then I'll wait for it to start unfolding again. I'm trying to focus on the moment, but also allowing what needs to happen. And this went on for like, I don't know, 35, 40 minutes. And, it was like, in comparison to 5-MeO malt, it's just so nice and streamlined and smooth. And weed, it's so like choppy. So I wasn't really getting anywhere with this. So this led me to do my breathing exercise. Now I did the first round, and on the very last exhale of the first round, I exhaled completely all the way down to nothing. So much so that I really began to cough. Like I exhaled everything out. And as I was exhaling everything out, kind of my world was turning inside out. And then I coughed because I like negative oxygen. It was just, there's nothing left to give. I don't know, can't describe it. But from there, the ego was trying to understand what was happening. And it was not very pleasant because I was like filled with a lot of fear and I was scared to keep doing my breathing, because it felt like my world was coming to an end as I was doing this breathing. So about 5-10 minutes go by of just like relaxing and just, okay, let's, eventually I came to this place where it's like, okay, let's do it again. So I did my other 2 rounds and it was fine. There's nothing really to report. But after the 3rd round, I kind of had a breakthrough where, I was doing the symmetrical movements. As the movements were happening, I was kind of coming to realize that I wasn't going to be doing the movements anymore for the remainder of the trip. So I just put my hands down and everything kind of just rested. And for the remainder of the trip, I just laid on my back and did nothing. And so instead of actually going into a pattern and then taking that pattern and deconstructing it, so going all the way down to nothing, and then once I'm at nothing, I go the complete opposite way and I go all the way back up to infinity. Instead of that, I was more exploring the space that I had created in the previous 5-MeO malt trip. So, I'm not certain that this is how it is, but this is my guess, is that I did a bunch of work on 5-MeO malt. I made a bunch of space, and that space was created and it allowed truth to seep in. Now with the cannabis, I was able to actually like go in and see which truth was there and kind of iron it out and explore it. So my body wasn't moving and I was just exploring patterns that were already present, that I already had access to, that there was no illusion. The sequence that followed was basically an entire section where everything was connected to everything else, but ultimately I got to see how I'm imagining all of reality. It was just, it started out very simple and there's different layers to it, but it was just like peeling away each layer and inspecting each layer and seeing that I'm literally creating everything in my mind. I could see a mirror that kind of turned into a prism, and as I looked into it, there was a reflection reflecting back to me, and there was like energy or light connecting the two. But then the energy that I was putting into the prism, it refracted out the other side, and it was like a crystal mirror, and each mirror refracted out to other mirrors, and then those refracted out to other mirrors. And it made this like giant complex geometric grid or pattern. And then as I moved myself, every single other mirror moved simultaneously in like a cohesive dance, that everything is connected all the time and there's nothing out of sync. It's just this perfect complex geometric pattern, and it's all unitary, it's all one, and it's all refracting all the time forever, and that creates these like geometric patterns, and that creates these geometric fractals. You know, I could see like what's the point, or like what's worth using my time for. And really the only thing that matters is pointing everything toward love, like getting all my faculties in a row and pointing it toward love, and then just heading in that direction for the rest of my life. There's really nothing else to do, or there's, you know, I can do other things, but it just doesn't add up. It just won't fulfill me in any way as much as like heading toward love. And this was a series of realizations where each realization connected to the one before it and the one after it. It was in succession. And overall, it was like one grand realization, but they were all connected. They were all interwoven. And the experience was, I don't know, it was just perfect. It's just perfect. I know one thing that I forgot to mention during this whole experience of me realizing that I'm imagining everything, that my mind is God's mind, and I'm creating this whole thing through imagination. It seemed like it was brand new and fresh. And like, oh, I see, that's how it is. Oh, okay. And then after, when I'd kind of like closed the chapter on that, it's like, what? I already knew that. Like, I already knew that. This is not new. This is not news to me, even though it seems like it was. But after, you know, like the truth is always there, and we always have access to it if we give ourselves permission to access it. It's just always there, and it seems like it's new and fresh, but really it's, you know, it's just the truth. It's always here. It's right now. Okay, so by the end of this experience, I would say that this was like equal to or more powerful than my 5-MeO malt experience. The experience that I had with cannabis is kind of what I was expecting with 5-MeO malt, but it just didn't happen. But now I can see that these two work synergistically together to really hone in. It's like the two were basically one session, although they were separate experiences, but they just went hand in hand so well. You know, it kind of makes me realize, like, I was really afraid to do cannabis for a while. Like, I had a few big experiences that kind of scared me away. And I'm kind of wishing I explored that through my, like, large section of 5-MeO DMT. But it's all led me to this moment, so I have no regrets. It's just there's nothing to be afraid of, first of all. And weed is, it's an excellent tool. It's just an excellent tool. And I say that it was a grander experience than 5-MeO malt or equal to. It's hard to compare, but it's still at the same time, it's so gentle. So if anyone is struggling to integrate their experiences, I suggest some cannabis. You know, just smoke some cannabis like I've shown on 5-MeO malt, or like I've shown in this video, where I just lie down in symmetry and allow the experience to unfold. As long as we remain symmetrical and we fight to remain symmetrical, like, truth has no option but to show itself, and everything else will crumble away. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.